2023 is almost over, so let's rank all of the MCU projects that came out this year. What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. So like I said up front, I am ranking all 5 of the 2023 MCU projects, from the MCU Disney Plus shows to the movies. There's an asterisk here because What If supposedly could drop in the last few weeks of the year, but it still doesn't have an official release date, so honestly, it's just not going to be on this list. Before I get in this thing, let me know your ranking of the 2023 MCU projects in the comments down below, and hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to help reach my goal of 100,000 subscribers here on the channel. It would mean a lot. And check out the Unusual Couple podcasts link down below for weekly podcast episodes with myself and my girlfriend Cam. We have a blast with it. Any support goes a very long way. Alright, so kickstarting this list at number 5 is Secret Invasion. What a disappointment this show ended up being, because based on the marketing, it was so promising. It looked like a dark espionage spy thriller in the MCU. A lot of people were comparing it to, the Winter Soldier and being a grounded show. And there are ideas of everything I just mentioned, but the execution is really lacking. The show moves at a snail's pace and is just such a drag to sit through. And by the time the finale aired, the show really didn't feel like it had any clear sense of vision or direction. And while it's great to see Nick Fury headlining an MCU project finally after all these years, they really don't do much with him. I'm baffled by certain decisions made in the finale regarding a character receiving all this unlimited power, pretty much. Sorry for the Palpatine reference there, but it was just bizarre. And I don't know why this show was really made. I hate to say it, but it felt meaningless in the grand scheme of things, and it killed off some MCU characters. I guess those actors were like, you know what, to hell with the MCU, I'm done with it. I want to die in a TV show, not even on the big screen. I don't think Secret Invasion's the worst thing Marvel's ever done. I don't even think it's the weakest of the MCU Disney Plus series, but there was just so much potential and I ended up falling flat. The show fizzled out pretty early on because it started strong with some Mission Impossible vibes, and I was hooked after like the first 2 episodes, but it just continually declined until the finale aired, and I was like, I'll probably forget about that next week. And honestly, I haven't thought about the show much since it finished. That's far and away the weakest MCU project of the year, but coming in at number 4 is Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which when I originally saw, I was super high on this movie. I was at like 4 out of 5 stars, and the more I've sat with it, the more I've let it marinate, it's definitely regressed for me ever so slightly. I don't think this movie is great. I never thought it was great. I just had a lot of fun with it personally, and I still stand by that. This movie has these space adventure vibes. You've got the whole entire quantum realm as the main setting. Kang is a menace of a villain. Like, again, anytime that man enters the room, you're gonna listen intently to any line of dialogue he says, and that's mainly due in part to Jonathan Majors' performance. The man crushes it in the role. And then you've got Scott Lang as the main character. He's so lovable, and in this movie, he's walking on top of the world, but then he gets his world rocked and turned upside down pretty quickly. The relationship between him and his daughter Cassie Lang is the core of this film, and Catherine Newton's performance is it's not very good. It's actually distractingly bad to me, and kind of diminishes some of the moments that are supposed to be a little bit more emotional regarding the family. But look, all around, this movie's fun. It gets ridiculous at times, it gets really stupid at times, but I enjoyed my time with it. It is not perfect, but it's not the worst Ant-Man film. Ant-Man and the Wasp is. This is a step up from that. It doesn't reach the heights of that original Ant-Man, that's a delightful heist film. But this movie I enjoyed, and I never really understood the overwhelming hate it got. Some people say it's the outright worst MCU film. I'm going to disagree strongly with that. Far from perfect, the whole MODOK thing, I get it. It's dumb. It can get really cheesy and ridiculous. But I just enjoyed it for what it was. It was an Ant-Man movie. They're kind of corny by nature, and it just worked for me for the most part. At number 3 on my list is The Marvels, the movie that hit theaters this weekend, and it's another divisive MCU film. We got 2 really divisive ones online this year. This movie's fun as well, and it's actually a step up from Quantumania because it's got a great trio with Miss Marvel, Monica Rambeau, and Captain Marvel. Seeing their chemistry form over the course of the film was a standout to me, and Miss Marvel herself carried this movie. Kamala Khan was just so delightful. She is hilarious at times. You know how she's such a super fan of Carol Danvers / Captain Marvel. And then over the course of the movie, just seeing the antics they get into worked for me. The Flurkins were there. It was over the top, but the movie knew what it was from the start. It embraced the silliness, and I like when a movie does that as opposed to trying to fight itself and be like, no, I want to be a serious drama. Oh wait, I want to be a comedy. This movie wanted to be a silly, fun time from the start, and it never strayed away from that. The villain is weak. I won't lie, I can't even remember her name, and I don't know why the movie was so jarring from the start. Through and through, The Marvels was an enjoyable time at the movies. Was it a groundbreaking MCU movie? No. But I had a smile on my face throughout a lot of these scenes. The action was pretty dope, and it's cool to see how far all 3 of these characters have come since their introduction. Notably Carol Danvers, she's come so far since that first Captain Marvel film, so I don't understand the overwhelming amounts of hate for Quantumania or The Marvels. Neither film is perfect. They both have their flaws, but they're far from the worst in the MCU, in my opinion. They're both way better and more enjoyable movies than something like Thor: Love and Thunder, Thor: The Dark World, or even The Incredible Hulk. So I don't understand the massive waves of hate both these films have gotten. Again, they're not top 10, not even top 15 MCU films, but they're solid enough, entertaining times, and that's what I go to a lot of these MCU films for. Coming in at number 2, my runner-up is going to be Loki Season 2. The finale aired only a few days ago, and I have not been able to stop thinking about those final moments. I won't spoil the show for those who haven't watched it, because I know some people wait until all the episodes are out to watch, but Loki Season 2 is incredible TV. In fact, I think it's the best season of MCU Disney Plus TV, period. The final 2 episodes are such a good 1-2 punch. Everyone has just a wonderful character arc. There are moments that moved me emotionally. I think Natalie Holt's score is one of the better scores we've ever heard in the MCU. Like, I had chills throughout the entire finale of this show, and everyone just ended in such a great place. Like, it felt like a series finale, and the creators are apparently saying they're unlikely to do a season 3, like it's just a 2-half show, like season 1 was a half, and then season 2 was the other half, and that's it. And man, did it work for me. It ended on a high note, and made me care so much more about the character of Loki. Mobius was my personal favorite from this show, but even the addition of Kiwi Kwan and, Jonathan Majors having a more prominent role in this season, all of it worked, and Loki Season 2 is some of the best writing the MCU has to offer in terms of dramatic stakes, but also just character development. This is what we need. This level of prestige, this level of care for the MCU is what we need, on the streaming services with the Disney Plus shows, but also in cinemas, in the movie theaters. We need this level of detail and care put into our MCU movies to make them truly great. But taking the top spot for my favorite MCU project of 2023 has got to be Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Rarely do movies move me so emotionally like this. I cried in multiple scenes, I laughed my ass off, I pumped my fist in the air as I watched a one-take action scene. Shout out the soundtrack for being such a bop through and through. This movie brought closure to the Guardians family, and I will be forever grateful to James Gunn for delivering the best MCU trilogy, period. This movie rocks. I was overwhelmed with joy during the final moments, and it just felt like the end of a chapter. Like, much like Avengers Endgame, we moved on from a lot of characters. This was the end of an era. We moved on from the Guardians of the Galaxy as we know them, and it was heartbreaking in a way, but it was also so bittersweet, and it just worked. Very Return of the Jedi-esque ending, which is one of my favorite Star Wars films, so of course this is going to be right up my alley. Again, I'm just a sucker for conclusions done right, and this is perfect. Everyone kind of got to ride off into the sunset. It still made us feel like we experienced loss with characters like Rocket and Drax, but they didn't die, and that made it all the better. I adore Guardians 3. It's one of my favorite films of the year, one of my favorite MCU films, period, and the soundtrack bangs. This movie rules, and it was always going to be my favorite MCU project of 2023. But that's just my personal ranking of all the 2023 MCU projects we got. I wonder where What If Season 2 could potentially land, if it even ends up coming out this year, who's to say. But let me know your ranking of the 2023 MCU projects in the comments down below, and be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell to help reach my goal of 100,000 subscribers here on the channel. It means a lot. And go show some love to the Unusual Couple podcast for weekly podcast episodes with myself and my girlfriend Cam. We have tons of fun with it over there. But that's going to do it. Thank you guys as always for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys later.